Previously on the Rod Pedersen Show.
It's our NHL top 5 and bottom 5. I know you all wait for it every week, so let's go, guys, with the top 5 teams from the RP Show is put together by the host. The number 1 team, I was overruled on this one. It's the Colorado Avalanche, the number 1 team in the NHL. Have you watched them? 54 wins, 754 winning percentage leads the NHL. The Avs are the team to beat. Number 2, who I wanted to have number 1, but again, I was overruled. Florida Panthers are the number 2 team. 42 wins. That's a lot less than Colorado. Plus 74 in goal differential. They're the number 2 team. Number 3, Carolina. They're hanging around. This might be the year that they make some serious noise. 42 wins, tied with Florida. So there you go. The number 4 team, the New York Rangers. They snuck into the top 5 last week. They've gone up to number 4. People argued, but now you're seeing why. They've got more points than Tampa Bay, and they just beat the Lightning on Saturday night. And the number 5 team is the Tampa Bay Lightning because they are still the Lightning after all. Calgary is just on the outside looking in. Let's go to the bottom 5 NHL teams, everybody. Number 28, it's the Ottawa Senators. I'm sorry, they are very disappointing this season, and they are sellers again at the deadline. Number 29, the Philadelphia Flyers. They can get to overtime, but they can't win. This is an historically bad Flyers team, folks. Number 30, the Seattle Kraken. Retooled after the deadline. They beat the Coyotes last night. At least they're not last.
Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. Now,
we are airing in Boston, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C.
how about that?
Washington, Oregon, Idaho, California, Arizona, Colorado, Oklahoma, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Vermont, Maine. I've been everywhere, man.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah. Mom, Clark just called me a hoser.
How about that?
I wonder if our American viewers know what that is. Welcome, everybody, to the RP Show, your favorite daytime sports and entertainment talk show coming to you from South Florida. That's one half of the show. On the way today, Rogers Sportsnet's CHL and NHL analyst Sammy Cosentino, the whitest teeth in broadcasting, and the captain of the Saskatchewan Rush, Chris Corbeil. But for the other half of the show, we go to the NHL's Bermuda Triangle, and we welcome in the Moose, Darren Dupont. How you feeling today, Moose?
I'm feeling good. Feeling better. Not quite all the way there yet, but we're on the way back, so it's good.
All right, good to hear the Moose is overcoming a cold/flu, that type of thing. You know what? Let's jump into the Quick Six Show topics, please, if you don't mind. And one thing that I said to Darren I might like to institute moving forward for at least as long as I'm down here is what they're talking about on South Florida Sports Radio today. Here's what they're talking about today, just to put this out there. How many yards Tua Tagovailoa will throw for and touchdowns this year for the Miami Dolphins, of course, with the acquisition on Wednesday of Tyreek Hill, the wideout. So I just want to point out the Miami Marlins are in spring training, about to open a season. The NBA's Miami Heat are playing, and the Florida Panthers are the number 1 team in the National Hockey League. For sure, the East Conference, it's all about the Dolphins and how much yardage the quarterback's going to throw for this year. So that's the pulse. And, yeah, we'll talk about more of that later. But let's what we're talking about is the National Hockey League. And, Moose, I told you that we were going to open with the Leafs. But before we do that, the Vegas Golden Knights trade of forward Evgeny Dadonov to the Ducks was voided by the NHL last night because Anaheim was on his no-trade list. Sounds easy, right? The league announced the trade could not be completed because Dadonov's limited no-trade clause, quote, had not been complied with. Vegas tried to trade Dadonov and a future second-round pick to Anaheim for veteran defenseman John Moore and the contract of center Ryan Kesler. Dadonov counts $5 million against the cap this season. That money remains on the Golden Knights' books for the rest of the year, keeping them in a cap bind. It was not immediately clear why NHL Central Registry approved the deal when it was filed prior to the trade deadline on Monday. I don't understand it either. This is not a topic that the NHL Network's going to touch. They do the highlights, they do that well, but as far as the minutia, the nuts and bolts of a deal like this, they're not even touching it. Did Insider Trading on Sportsnet, did they touch this? It just seems to me like this is Kelly McCrimmon up to his old tricks that the WHL would have complied with back in the day because it's Kelly McCrimmon, but in the NHL, he can't do that. That's my take on that.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. And, you know, the no trade thing, that's the big date, right? It was supposed to be submitted back in July of 2021, the no trade list to qualify him to be traded. You need to have this much notice. It just, yeah, it wasn't going to work. And those, you're right, those things have worked in the past for Kelly. He's a guy who knows, how to, work the rule book or, find, little ways to get things done, and unable to move that contract and move Dadonov. So that's a little wrinkle down the stretch here for Vegas.
Well, interesting. So I guess it depends on the power and influence you wield. I don't think the Vegas Golden Knights have as much power at the NHL table. I don't think they're sitting with the adults yet. You know what I mean? With the Jeremy Jacobses and the, who's the guy in New York with the Rangers? I just don't think they're at the big boys table yet. So you can't pull off a trade like that when not complying with a player's no-trade clause. That's my take. I'm glad you agreed. So to the games, and if I may, we never did come up with a poll question today, did we? Just blink twice.
Oh,
yes.
no.
Yeah. No.
Okay,
no,
it's fine.
I don't know, forget the code.
I'm going to tell our viewer, it's okay. Go to our Instagram right now, at The Rod Pedersen Show, and you can vote on the story. We're not going to use Twitter today. And what it will be, Clark, because the poll's already up there, Leafs jersey, the Leafs Bieber jersey, hot or not? And the model is Austin Matthews. Right. Well, maybe you do, Rick Regan. Maybe I don't like the jersey. We were watching the game last night. I'm like, this is too much not Toronto. And Dave Reed just went off on NHL Network. Old Reader, the Stanley Cup champion with the Dallas Stars. He's like, this is an original 16. You don't screw with this. I don't like the jersey. However, because I posted it to Instagram quite some time ago, there's like between 60 and 70% of the respondents saying, yes, they like the Bieber Leaf jersey. What's wrong with people? So I'm voting no. You?
That's a good question because I both, but you know what? I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I would rather them not play with it. I like the traditional jerseys better, but I'm okay with it. I like it.
I don't. You just said you're not okay with it, and you said you are. Is it a yes or a no? What is it? You must go into vote at the election and have a meltdown behind the curtain of when you're going to vote.
No, I voted on the poll. I voted yes. I like it. You got to push me one way. I vote that I'm okay.
That's all I ask. That's all I ask. So I told you this morning on the phone that I watched most of the Leaf game last night because I don't normally do that. Pierre Engvall scored a shorty with 4:42 to go to lead Toronto over New Jersey 3-2. And my God, what's got into the Devils, man? They spanked the Rangers the other night. They put a hell of a scare into the Leafs last night. Engvall moved in on a 2-on-1 rush with Ilya Mikheyev off, serving a double minor for high sticking, delayed, and then fired his 11th goal of the season past Nico Dawes. Mikheyev also scored a shorty. I saw that one where he caught P.G. Subban flat-footed. And Mitch Marner had the other score for the Maple Leafs, who got 20 saves out of Peter Mrazek. Hey, Austin Matthews was back-checking last night. So the Leafs are getting into playoff mode. I got to say, I was impressed. I still don't think they're Canada's greatest hope to win the Stanley Cup for the first time since 1993. That belongs, in my opinion, still the Calgary Flames. But Moose, you said you watched most of the game. I think you'd be impressed with your team last night, too.
Yeah, that's an underrated part of Matthews' game is, his defensive ability. We don't talk enough about that. He was back checking last night. The rip that Marner had on the pass from Matthews, I thought was a great shot. I was watching to see how Giordano played. Didn't really hit the stat line. A lot of zeros on there. I think he had a couple of hits and a couple block shots, but overall it was a good game. I think Mrazek hadn't played since the Heritage Classic. When he had that bad effort at the Heritage Classic against Buffalo. So It was good to see him come back, make a few stops, get a win. And but you're right, New Jersey kind of pushed him against the wall a little bit last night.
I thought it was a hell of a hockey game. Elsewhere, Tage Thompson had 2 goals in regulation and also scored in the shootout. Alex Tuck had a shootout goal. And the Buffalo Sabres beat the Pittsburgh Penguins 4-3 Wednesday for their 3rd straight win. In Denver, Brock Besser and JT Miller scored 152 apart early in the 3rd. Jaro Halak stopped 32 shots in Vancouver, beat first-place Colorado 3-1. Bo Horvat finished with an empty net goal as the Canucks went 1-2 against the Avs this season. They avoided being swept in the season series by Colorado for the first time since 1997. Nazem Kadri had a power play goal for the Avs, and Darcy Kemper made 24 saves. And the only other game of the night, Dylan Strome scored the go-ahead goal with 3:50 to go. And Patrick Kane had another big night against Anaheim as Chicago defeated the Skidding Ducks 4-2. To point 2, Shane Wright scored early, but Team Red couldn't hold on to the lead, falling 3-1 to Team White in the CHL Nhl Top Prospects game in Kitchener. Shout out Kitchener. Jagger Furcus and Jake Carabella each notched a goal and a helper for Team White, and Nathan Gaucher rounded out the scoring. The annual showcase is a chance for top prospects across the Canadian Hockey League to put their skills on display ahead of July's NHL entry draft. We were joking about this, you and I think Clark was in on it too, that who was it that told us that Paul Bissonnette fought in the prospects game? Biznasty fought. Was it Bruce Franklin? Somebody told us, some NHL scout said, oh yeah, Bissonnette fought in the prospects game. What?
Right.
Remember that? Was it Bruce?
I do. I don't remember who it was that told us, but I remember both of our jaws hitting the floor being like, you guys are fighting in the prospects game, but I guess, hey, you got to show what's going to get you to the next level.
And it worked for him. It's a different era now. But I could sit and talk about the CHL Top Prospects game for hours and hours and hours. Sometime, maybe we should launch a separate podcast, Moose, because I don't know how much people like my stories versus the actual sporting news. But I just remember, where you grew up in the chicken capital, you would remember names like Boyd Kane and Curtis Tippler and Josh Holden, all my good buds from the Regina Pats back in the day. The very first ever Top Prospects game, that crop of guys played in it. And I don't remember where it was. I think it might have been in Kitchener. But Don Cherry was the coach of one team and Bobby Orr was the coach of the other. And it was amazing because Tippler, who's doing great things, by the way, awesome dude, he came back. Actually, the whole team, we went to Boston Pizza and Victoria Avenue East, the whole team. Did the team still do that? Rich Preston organized a team party to watch the Top Prospects game so we could watch our guys in the game. We had 3 or 4 guys in the game. It's a big deal. And so when Tippler came home, he's like, guys, you wouldn't believe when Don Cherry walked in their room. Because he was young enough to not know of Don Cherry as a coach. Right. He thought of him as a broadcaster, right? So he came in and Don said, guys, slammed the door. And then, this was 25 years ago. I don't really remember how the speech went, but Tippler was like, my God, we were could have heard a pin drop, and we were ready to run through a wall for this guy, for Don Cherry. But no,
that's so
Sportsnet turned him out to pasture, and it is, yeah. And he went on to coach for many, many years. But, that's pretty cool. 11:11 Central right now, right? We're on the right path, Moose.
Yes.
Moving on to point 3, the Raptors are back, kicking off a 10-games slate here that will decide their playoff fate. The final regular season stretch begins with Toronto hosting the Cleveland Cavaliers tonight. Raps currently sit a game behind the Cavs for 6th in the East. The Lakers saw their playoff hopes dim last night, dropping a 126-121 decision to the Philadelphia 76ers. Joel Embiid had 30 points and 10 rebounds, and the Beard poured in 24. The Lakers were missing LeBron, who sat out to rest his sore knees. Forget about that. There's a show we started watching on Netflix last night. We were talking about the what we're watching, what we're streaming yesterday. This is a new one. Are you familiar with the Hollywood Medium?
Yes, I am.
Did you know that he's got his own Netflix series?
No, I didn't. Like a TV show?
Yeah. Yeah, a series. I can't remember what the name of it is. Maybe somebody can write in and tell me what it is. But last night I watched the first couple episodes of that, and lo and behold, who's one of the contestants that the medium, the psychic, read was Jeannie Buss, the current president and owner of the Los Angeles Lakers. It was wild. I loved it.
Wow.
So check that out. Tyler Henry's his name, and he's coming here to Fort Lauderdale in December, so I think we're going to go to the live show. Anyways, moving on. I'm going to sprinkle in some comments because we might have time to get to the next point. Tell your friends we're live, by the way, live streaming on YouTube and Game Plus Television. And on the way, we're going to talk about Canada, big soccer game tonight. We're going to talk about Leah Thomas, the NCAA transgender swimmer that is caught up in all this controversy right now. I'm going to give my take on the situation. Moose is going to give his, and the viewers will be asked for theirs. And we'll talk a little CFL Combine stuff. But from the viewers, Randy from the Peg says, I thought Fergus, best player last night, Jagger Fergus he's talking about, of the Moose Jaw Warriors in the Prospects game. But it was Braden Yeager, they said, is the next Nathan McKinnon, right? That's what the scouts said?
Okay. Yeah.
It's not Jagger Fergus, it's Braden Yeager. Right. But they're both great. But Yeager's a year younger. Andrew Ray in the chat says, really cool that a Guildford Flame fan messaged in yesterday. My friend's son plays for them. He's the youngest player in the Elite League at 16. It wasn't a fan. It was one of the players that was watching yesterday. It was Tristan Fry, our good friend, a former U of R. Wasn't a fan. Not that there's anything wrong with fans. Saying there's, like, what'd they say, 6 players from the rectangle that are playing there?
Yeah.
Right. Darren in Salt Lake City, who says, good morning from Boston. Rainy here for my daughter's surgery, getting out of the hospital today. Darren, thanks for taking us with you. That's the wonderful thing about live streaming, and good luck to your daughter with the surgery. Hope all goes well. Ryan in Saratoga, New York, watching, says, the Devils could have beat the Leafs if they didn't give up 2 shorties. They've given up 11 shorthanded goals this season. Yeah, not good enough. How about that? The Bear could have caught the rabbit if what? He didn't stop to take a dump on the side of the road.
Exactly.
Come on.
Bingo!
See? We know these things. We're going to take a slight early break because I don't want to get into the rest of these topics now with a minute to go. So alert to the Game Plus newsroom. And Alex, if you're working today, Alex texted us from the Game Plus newsroom yesterday, Moose. I didn't tell you, on the 902 line, and he wanted our take on the Tyreek Hill trade. So he got it, but I just want to tell you, Alex, that we did get your message, just not until well after you sent it. We'll be right back. We're right in the middle of the warm-up. You're watching on Game Plus TV, also live streaming on YouTube. And if you missed any portion of the show, you can always find it wherever you find your favorite podcasts, including Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar Buying Group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Grey Eagle Resort and Casino. Casino fancy.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, you're going to love this show. Here's proof that we're a small crew. No job's too small. I filmed that moose, that bumper. That's my finger at the bottom right of your screen. Bottom right. I don't know how I did that. Rod, 88 fingers Pedersen there. 88 thumbs, maybe, as Wilma Flintstone said. But the shot's good, right? You got the point.
Yeah, you get the point. That's funny. It's such a tourist shot. You get your finger in front of the lens. That's good. But good job.
Jordan,
the shots
thank
look
you for airing
fantastic.
that.
I love them.
Well, Jordan's such a perfectionist. I'm shocked that he's actually airing that. I'm going to tell the world Jordan didn't film it. I did. Okay? Before we continue on with the quick six show topics here, there's another thing that I need to mention. Tough Tribe for Men. Mine got confiscated at the border coming down here because the jar was too big, Moose. Can you believe it? Anyways, Tough Tribe for Men contains aloe vera, botanicals, and antioxidants traditionally known for their scalp and hair benefits. We love our men. Welcome to the Tough Tribe, available today at toughtribeformen.com, Amazon Canada, and coming soon to a salon near you. But not at the one I was at this morning. I had to go buy some pomade today, and I told you the whole story. It's called Sport and Waves, and it's okay. I don't have a problem with it. It's only $3. It ain't no Tough Tribe, dude. It's not. It probably looks okay, but this doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right.
I know what you mean.
So did you get the pomade from Tough Tribe? You said it was being shipped. Do you? I can't remember what you said. Do you have it in your possession, or are you going to take it to the Grey Eagle for our next stint there?
Yeah, it'll be at the Grey Eagle for the next stint. It is not currently in my possession at the moment, but it will be by early next week, and we'll bring it down there. But you're right. Like, sometimes if it's not the right one that you like, it's just not going to feel right. It's not going to do what you want it to do, and it's going to throw you off.
Once you had Tough Tribe, you never go back. That should be their slogan. Okay.
How about that?
I just knocked my coffee over. Here we go. Again, transgender swimming coming up in our topics, so I want to get to that fairly soon. But point 4 here is simply this. The CFL Combine presented by New Era starts Saturday. And listen, not a lot of people get into the NFL Combine. This is not an anti-CFL thing. But I do know it's like that old East Coast beer. Remember, those who love it a lot. I'm not going to be following the CFL Combine, but I do want to say a hearty bravo to them for providing live coverage. They're going to be streaming it. I see Marshall Ferguson's going to be broadcasting the bench press Saturday, and my guess is that they'll get some viewers for that. I'm just not really into it per se. And I saw the stuff coming out of the NFL Combine. Was a 6'7" D lineman, ran a 4.7 40, stuff like that. That's cool. Again, I'll look at the results, but I'm not going to sit and watch it. But I want to applaud the CFL for doing live coverage of the Combine. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's really exciting for the players. I think that's a massive day for them, an opportunity for those guys, especially, those guys coming from those Canadian youth sports schools to showcase what they can do. And for some guys, it's going to put them on the radar. I mean, look what Kyle Borsa did at the Combine, and boom, he got put on the radar really high. So I'll watch for a little bit of that. It's not going to catch my attention to sit and binge watch hours and hours of it. But as a football guy, I'll be paying attention to what the numbers are, what the results are, and seeing if somebody jumps off the board.
It's interesting that you said, as a football guy, the viewers need to know. We've established this in the many hours that Moose and I have spent in the car side by side. He's football first. I'm hockey first. And that makes us the great yin and yang. Anyways, to the chat. Speaking of binge watching, Shane Mellensen writes in from Deer Valley and says, the Netflix series is Life After Death with Tyler Henry. And it's just interesting. Some are going to love it, some aren't. I went to a medium here in South Florida. I loved it. I was telling one of my family about it, and they're like eating it up. Ooh, amazing. Told another member of the family, they're like, yeah, but that could have been anything. Like she might have said, might have guessed it. I'm like, stop. You're just never going to get it, so let's just stop talking about it. From my cousin Christine in Medicine Hat. She says, Tough Tribe smells so good. It does. It smells so good. It smells so good as soon as it hits your nose. Arlen Bruce III writes in, AB3, CFL great.
Yep.
He says, Sporting Waves is what I used my entire teenage years. Yeah, well, there wasn't Tough Tribe at that time, AB. Whoops. And another from Chris Bird watching in King City, Ontario. He says, Marshall Ferguson and his crew have been doing a great job on the Canadian Football Perspective podcast reporting on the CFL Combines. See, there's a market for it. You're not going to get it here. We'll talk about it briefly and mention it, but that's where you go if you're really into that. And our AB also goes on, by the way, and says, Tua will definitely not finish the season with Teddy Two Gloves Bridgewater waiting to throw to my boy Cheetah. Chiefs are still my squad. Great show, fellas. It's always lit. My boy, Arlen Bruce III. I think we got to get Arlen on again soon. Looks like he's got a lot to say. Moving on back to wherever we were. History could be made tonight as Canada takes on Costa Rica in World Cup qualifying. A win would book a spot to Qatar for the 33-ranked Canadian men, a team that's only been to one previous World Cup back in 1986. Canada has surprised many during the qualifiers and currently sits atop the final round robin standings. I will be getting into soccer if Canada makes the World Cup. Absolutely. It's kind of in my commentary today on a few of the things that I was bringing up there. I can't be into everything. I'm all into hockey. I'm all into football. I'm all into the things that I like. I'm all into the NLL. You're just not going to get me all in until the big moments for baseball, curling, soccer. And if you've noticed, they're all slower sports. But that's not to say I'm not open-minded. Yesterday I said, I'm too old to get into a new sport. Well, no, in the pandemic, Moose, I got into auto racing. I told you we watched Ford versus Ferrari the other day. Before the pandemic, when the promos were coming out for Ford versus Ferrari, I'm like, I don't want to watch that show. That's not something that I would be interested in. But then I got into racing. Then I got invited to go to all the racetracks. I got invited down into the pits. Shoot, they asked me to drive a car. And I said, I'm not Super Dave Osborne. I'm okay from over here. But I enjoyed the danger of it. I enjoyed the smell of the burnt fuel in the air. I loved all about it. Everything. So I got into racing. But it's exciting. That's my take on that.
Yeah.
And to today's commentary, here we go. Here we go. We have some viewer mail. I could find it. It's from my good friend Vinny Goodwin. I probably should. I can read it, Moose. He wrote in, and here's how this all started. Hi, Roddy. First-time caller, long-time listener. What are your thoughts on Emma Wyant winning the NCAA swimming competition as a trans athlete? I'm very pro-LGBTQ, but in my opinion, this should not be accepted. Broader shoulders, thinner hips, less drag on swimmers. It's science. That is his opinion on the matter. I would hope that everybody kind of has a sniff of what's going on here. And I'm going to read from the Associated Press wire. Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis jumped into the conversation about a transgender swimmer who won a collegiate title by declaring the runner-up as the real winner. DeSantis signed a proclamation this week declaring Florida-born Emma Wyant as the winner of the women's 500-yard freestyle at the NCAA women's tournament rather than transgender athlete Leah Thomas, a University of Pennsylvania senior. Ron DeSantis, whose proclamation has no effect on the tournament outcome, it's just a piece of paper, Darren, is using the document in fundraising messages for his re-election campaign. Quote, from his Twitter, by allowing men to compete in women's sports, the NCAA is destroying opportunities for women, making a mockery of its championships, and perpetuating a fraud, unquote. His proclamation comes nearly a year after he signed a bill that requires anyone participating in girls' athletics to have an original birth certificate stating they are, in fact, female. So clearly we know where Ron DeSantis stands. We don't know where a lot of the national women's organizations in the United States stand because they haven't made a statement about it this week. And they're being called out for not making a statement because are you supporting the girls who didn't win because they have this former male, now female coming into the pool who I believe is 6'8"? Who are you supporting here? National women's groups. Again, DeSantis stands with the girls that were born girls and saying transgender athletes should not be allowed to participate in competitions like this. I had a full 12 hours to think about it, and I told you this morning I'm going to be asking you, Moose, so get your thoughts. Because I know also transgender people, members of LGBT community, that they're discriminated every day. So it's not real inclusive to say, oh, you're transgender, you've had a sex change, you can't compete in this. That's not inclusive, and I get that. But at some point you need to draw the line, and Ron DeSantis drew the line and said these are competitions for females born as females, end of story. My thinking was, I'm again, it's in my commentary today, I'm big on personal accountability. And if I was Leah Thomas, if this was simply me, I would say if I was in her Speedo in this instance, you know what? This has made for a very awkward situation. It's made a lot of people uncomfortable. I don't belong here. I'll pull myself out of the competition. I'll give back my gold medal, and as you were. That's just me. Frankly, I've done that in my own life. Listen, I don't belong here. A lot of people are uncomfortable with my presence. I'll just excuse myself, as you were. I don't really want to be here anyways. So that's what I would do if I was Leah Thomas. I don't know if that's integrity or not. I don't know. You know, the competitor could have said, I don't belong in this event, so I won't enter. So I'm kind of putting the onus on Leah Thomas. But what's your take on this?
Yeah, it's a delicate situation. At first look, this isn't LeBron James going to play WNBA, right? I mean, Leah Thomas wasn't setting records, wasn't smashing the record book or anything like that. But, it is interesting because, you want people to be themselves, to be who they are, and that shouldn't restrict them. You talk about being inclusive. It shouldn't restrict them from being able to compete. there is a little bit of a delicate situation here because, she started her collegiate career swimming as a male with the men. And I think, probably not doing great. I didn't look up exactly how she did, but, switched in the middle of the career, right? If this was about and only about, who Leah Thomas is as a person and being a trans person and living the life that she knows in her heart she wants to live, then that's great. But, to make the switch to swim, it makes a lot of people think that, you're trying to do this to get an edge, to compete, to have success, to, and all the things that come along with it. And I'm not as familiar with the NCAA, swimming scene, but in other sports in the NCAA, there's a lot of money, there's a lot of politics, there's a lot of opportunities that can come from being successful at the NCAA. So I could see why Leah would do that. But and it is tough because you've got all these other women who have worked really, really hard. And it's interesting because every situation is so different, right? It's a gateway drug to males who want to win or who want to make money or, want that endorsement deal to do the gender swap and go and compete as women. Now, that's the easy answer, but yeah, it's so interesting and it's such a delicate situation. And there's a ton of uproar on social media. And honestly, most of what I've read, on social media has been in support of the other women who were swimming and finished behind Leah Thomas. So that's where I've seen it.
We're out of time, but let me just say that I'm saying she should give her medal back and withdraw from the competition. Agree or disagree?
Yeah, probably not. No, I don't agree because she was allowed to compete, so she should be allowed to win the medal.
Fine, it's all good. What I asked from my cousin Christine, she says, I think she should step down. From Jack in Vulcan, Alberta. I'm with you, Rod. But again, that's just us. Moose, will see you back here in hour 2.
Sounds good.
This is going to be great. We're going to talk top prospects, talk about Paul Bissonnette fighting in the prospects game. I have a scout text to me that said that is, in fact, the case. Sammy Cosentino joins us next. You're watching the RP Show live from South Florida on the Game Plus television network across all 10 provinces and 31 states. Live streaming on YouTube and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Nestled in the scenic Corbeil Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop, staffed by PGA of Canada professionals, is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, it's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time. Big
It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Alice Cooper, the godfather of shock rock, is back. With special guest Buck Cherry. Mosaic Place, Sunday, April 10th. Get tickets now at mosaicplace.ca and sasktix.ca.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Another beautiful day here in gorgeous South Florida. Open the bridge! I filmed these. This lady pops out of the boat and waves at me near the end of the video if you watch real closely. Yeah, we're talking hockey today. Hey, the Panthers, a big game tonight. Claude Giroux makes his Florida Panthers debut. We'll talk about those. They're at Montreal, by the way. But Sammy Cosentino joining us. We talk NHL, talk CHL, talk Top Prospects. Shane Wright scored early, but Team Red couldn't hold on last night to the lead, falling 3-1 to Team White in the NHL Top Prospects game, CHL NHL game in Kitchener. Jagger Firkus, Sammy, as you know, of the Moose Jaw Warriors, scoring last night, and they're telling me that they're saying out in Western Canada that Jagger Firkus was the best player in the game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I would concur with that. He was awesome. And I was so happy to get the opportunity to meet the young man in our interviews the day before. And really an open book, told the story that, I want to connect with Jagger before moving forward with it. But, opened up really to a deep personal story. And I was really proud of him for doing that. And yeah, it was kind of weird, Roddy, because, I don't get too emotionally involved in those things, but both of us were crying by the end of it. So it's pretty cool to see him go out there and have the kind of the game he had. But I'd have to agree, showed a lot of jump. He obviously shoots the puck well. I don't think there's anyone in the east side of the Western Hockey League that doesn't know about that. But also picked up an assist. So really happy for the young man.
Good to hear, man. And listen, we could sit and talk about CHL Top Prospects stories forever. I knew the crew that was in the first one. A bunch of friends of mine played in that, and I was saying it earlier about Don Cherry walking into the room. These young donkeys didn't realize Cherry'd ever coached. They couldn't believe how great and motivational he was. Don Cherry, right? Curtis Tippler, Boyd Kane, Derek Morris, Josh Holden. That was the crew. That was awesome. But of all the Top Prospects games you've attended, is there something that stands out to you?
Well, for that one, it sucked because it was the first one in 16 years I didn't get to call. So that was a little bit interesting. When you're so invested into a product and a property like I had been for so long, it was kind of weird to just go there as an onlooker and as part of the media, but not necessarily part of the broadcast team. So that was challenging for sure. But yeah, it was pretty neat. I remember when Steven Stamkos fought. I remember the game that Nick Robertson and Arthur Kaliev were really good. That game in Red Deer, those guys are really good. So there's the odd one that sticks out, but the mind is more directed towards not being able to be in the booth last night, and so that one stung a little bit. But you know what? It's an awesome event. CHL did a great job with it.
They always do, yeah, and that's there is stories of that. But with Jagger Firkus, Braden Yager's getting all the pub. He broke Theo's record, right, for goals as a rookie. And then there's Bedard. It seems like they're all in the shadow of Bedard out in the WHL, and he's not even draft eligible. So I guess that's what's great about the Prospects game, is these guys can go out without that shadow and do their thing.
Yeah, and it is nice. And, there's going to be a lot of talk about the '05 group, which is essentially the 2023 draft, and rightfully so for the talent that it's going to provide. You get to see guys out there like you're talking about Jaeger and Height out there in the Western League, but in Ontario, there's some really good ones. And even in the Quebec League, I think we're starting to get back to where we're seeing the CHL come into prominence. But because of what's happened the last 2 years in the pandemic, I think the CHL has been impacted the most in terms of what the draft is going to look like, where European teams, for the most part, were able to play a number of games over those couple of years. You look in Ontario, they didn't even get to play last year, so those guys are all a step behind. But, overall, Rod, it's probably going to affect a 4-year cycle worth of players, based on either your final year in minor hockey as in under 16s and then coming into the CHL, and then, missing out a year in your draft minus 1 year, so on and so forth. So I think it will have an impact for a couple of years here, but really looking forward to that 2023 draft with Bedard as the headliner for sure.
They're awake in Winnipeg big time. They're writing in. Tacona in Winnipeg says, come on, Rod, talking CHL. Got to talk ice. 9 in a row on top of the East, soon to be number 1 in the CHL. He goes on to ask Sammy, how about Dick in net or Chuck from BW on YouTube says, is there a place to watch the Prospects game online? They want to talk about Matthew Savoy. And Randy from Winnipeg says the goalies look good too. So there's a word vomit. Answer them all, Sammy.
Yeah. No, Reed Dick was awesome in goal. And, the Swift Current Broncos, a young and up-and-coming team. They had a couple of guys at the game. Owen Pickering's a guy that they should be really proud of out there, who I think is really an interesting guy. Again, when we got into the interview with him, he was very quick to point out that I was drafted in the same spot as Travis Sanheim back with the Calgary Hitmen. And Sanheim was drafted in the 9th round of the Bantam draft, 177th overall, exact same spot as Owen Pickering. And so Sanheim obviously went on to become a first-rounder, 2014, went 17th overall to Philly, and this story is now continued to be written in the National Hockey League. And I think Owen Pickering is on that very same trajectory. So while we were on that Swift note, I wanted to make sure to get that out there. But let's go to the Winnipeg Ice. Connor Geekie is a guy who continues to catch a lot of eyes, because when you have those hands and that size, it's not a package that comes often. Every now and then, though, whether he's efforting or not, there are times when it doesn't look like he's efforting, and I think that can be a little bit problematic. He is a good enough skater, probably needs to improve in that area a little bit, but you like to just see him play maybe with a little bit more urgency to give you the impression that there's that max effort every shift. Now, Matthew Savoy, for me, was the guy who popped most in the game. Now, did he have the points like Jagger Firkus? I think in order to pop and produce, you become player of the game and you become that standout guy. When it comes to Matthew Savoy, though, every time he was on the ice, you noticed him right away. And that's what I saw when I was out in Winnipeg in November, and that's what the Ice fans have been able to see all season long. He's also a guy that in the on-ice testing on Tuesday finished first overall. I think he was first in about 3 or 4 categories, but in the totality of it was a guy who finished first overall. So really looking forward to watching Matthew kind of continue to rise here. I had him 3rd in my last rankings, Roddy, up a little bit from, I think, 5 or 7 the month before. And I think he's pretty comfortable in that spot right now. And I think by the end of the year, depending on what the Ice are able to do playoff-wise, how deep they're able to go, maybe he's a guy that we're looking at to get in the conversation to challenge Shane Wright for number 1. But really, really awesome to see him pop in the game last night.
Sammy, you're a TV guy. We have 60 seconds. You know what that means. And the viewers are all over you about your Leafs hat, which I think is actually a Blue Jays hat. And they want to know your thoughts on Austin. Yeah, and they want to know your thoughts on the Bieber jersey and also on what the Leafs did at the trade deadline. Boom.
Yeah, it's great to have that partnership with Justin Bieber. I think anytime he touches something, it raises awareness. And so if it's awareness for the Maple Leafs for the game in general, I think that's a good thing. Austin Matthews, to me, best player in the National Hockey League right now. He's learned to transition all of those great offensive skills onto the defensive side of the puck and being away from the puck. So he's using a good quick stick to strip guys. He's using that speed to catch up to guys. He's using his size and strength to close people out and get pucks turned over. I think he's the best player in the game right now. I really do. He's that effective. And when it comes to what happened in trade deadline, I think that was the last part of the question. I don't know. Be interesting to see what Minnesota does now that they were still able to maintain a lot of their picks in this year's draft, yet still add guys like Fleury and Delorier. Should be a lot of fun to watch them. Anything else in 10 seconds, Rod?
I think that's good. You got it all. Well, the Habs, they want to know in 10 seconds, what do you think what the Habs did?
Arbor Jack guy's a guy to watch. The Habs continue to acquire picks. It's kind of starting from scratch over there. So it's good that they got Caulfield going again. Suzuki looks at the top of his game, and I know you need to get to the beach.
Absolutely. Sammy, I think the world of you. You know that. I'm watching you every day down here. Keep up the great work. Thanks for the time.
Who loves you, Roddy? Enjoy your time. Take care.
The great Sam Cosentino. We'll be right back with Viewer Takeover on this burrito-full Thursday. Taco Time Viewer Takeover is next on Game Plus TV, live streaming on YouTube, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Comfort has always been something we, as people, strive for. It means that the places we live and work, and that the people we care most about, are able to go about their lives focusing on the things that matter. Our focus at FlameTech has remained the same for more than 20 years. Now more than ever, we need each other to support our local businesses. As an industry leader in combustion services, we are proud to attend to the needs of our communities and support the local economy.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep.
A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming, the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right. Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Hey Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
It is viewer takeover time on the RP Show. Yeah, that is a look in on this Thursday here in South Florida. I know that in Canada, pretty sure that it's Thursday all day long. And what I do know is that it's a burrito-full Thursday. Buy one, get one half off at any one of the 120-plus Taco Time locations across the Great White North, where all their ingredients are Canadian-sourced. In a few weeks, we'll be back up there and mowing our way through Taco Time, as Moose and I always do. It is viewer takeover for Taco Time, and I open up the text line, and I appreciate you, all of you who have picked up the phone and texted RP today. It's a thing. Numbers on the screen. You can do it anywhere across North America. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach us. Michael J. watching in Maple Ridge, BC. He hasn't written for a while, if at all ever, as I look at his text history. Is it Michael J. Fox? Isn't he from Maple Ridge, BC, guys? Anyways, he writes in regarding the hair pomade that my Tough Tribe for Men got confiscated at the border. I had to go buy some. Not bad, but it ain't Tough Tribe. Michael J. in Maple Ridge, BC says, you're a dapper man. From brother, where art thou? George Clooney would only use that pomade. LOL, says Michael in Maple. I didn't even know what pomade was until we started working with Tough Tribe for Men. That is a fact, Jack. And now I can't live without it. John in Edmonton's been asking the same question for 2 days, multiple times. And this is it. I've been ignoring it for a reason, John. Here's why. He says, why do you think Red Deer is not hosting part of the World Juniors this summer when nothing is booked at the arena in August in Red Deer? Here's your answer, John. I don't know.
How about that?
I used to get so exhausted everybody expecting me to have all the answers to everything. Then I realized you can say, I don't know. And that actually works. I don't know. Right Hockey Canada, it's their tournament. Rob in Cold Lake, Alberta, regarding our 6th show topic today. It was transgender swimmer Leah Thomas winning the women's 500-meter event in the NCAA championships. I've said that she should just step down. Rob in Cold Lake says, regarding the swimmer, I'm sure there are some sort of transgender games they can compete in, but I don't think there are. Not at this high of a level. And we'll bring Moose back in next hour, and we can kick this around a little more. My good friend Vinny Goodwin asked for my opinion on it, and here's my opinion. Is it right? Is it wrong? I don't even know what's right or wrong anymore, because I've seen people that are right get their heads cut off. So, you know what I'm saying? What's right, what's wrong? I don't know what's right or wrong. I think the answer to this situation, the easiest would be for Leah Thomas to go, you know what? I shouldn't have never entered. Here's your medal back. Have a nice life. That would be probably the best resolution to this whole thing, but Leah's not doing that. It takes a certain amount of humility, I would suggest, to do that. I don't know the person. I don't know whether she's humble enough to do that or not, but I think that would be the best thing. Wayne in Victoria, BC, watching on Game Plus Television, says, hi, Rod. My honest opinion on transgenders competing against women is it's wrong. The physiology of a biological man is different than a woman and gives the transgendered person an advantage that cannot be denied. That's just my opinion. We ask for your opinion. There's nothing right. There's nothing wrong. Can we please all get along? Hour 2 coming up. Chris Corbeil, the Rush captain, will be with us, and Moose after this.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
People donate blood for moments like this.
But there are lots of reasons why Canada's Lifeline needs donors every day.
Like the fact that someone with leukemia can need up to 8 units of blood a week.
Or that donated blood lasts no longer than 42 days.
Or to help new moms and babies, like Henry.
There's lots of reasons to donate blood. That's why we need donors every day.
The need for blood is constant. Join Toyota and our Toyota dealers in supporting Canada's Lifeline.
Lot of sun, smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. And big time, big time, big time, big time. Resort and Casino.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
Now, we are airing in Boston, Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C.
How about that?
Washington, Oregon, Idaho, California, Arizona, Colorado, Oklahoma, Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Indiana, Vermont, Maine. I've been everywhere, man.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hey, welcome you all. And that little ditty isn't all places that I've been to, nor the Moose. It's all the places that we are daily on Game Plus television all through America in 31 states. If we are not on your cable provider, call your cable provider. And if you want to know where we air, go to GamePlusNetwork.com. All the states and cable carriers are there. Let's welcome in the Moose. It's become a spicy Moose. He is in the NHL's Bermuda Triangle. I'm down here in South Florida. Are you okay, Moose, with wading into the deep end on this Leah Thomas matter? Because that's where we are, my friend.
Yeah, we can go into it. I'm okay with that. Why not?
Well, sorry to tell you, we are kind of into it. We're in it. We're in one. And I'm going to get to a sports update in a second here. For those that don't know, by the way, Bronco Plumbing and Heating, they always bring you Rod's Rant daily. Shout out to the boys and gals at Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Find everything you need to know about their services, financing, product information, and more at broncoplumbing.com. I would suggest give them a follow on their social media too. Bronco Plumbing and Heating. And Hour 2 is brought to you by Great Western Original 16 Beer. They're found across Western Canada, and if you're lucky, there might even be one in your fridge. Purchase at a store near you today. Not a ton of time will be spent on this situation because we did last hour, but just to recap, Republican Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed a proclamation this week declaring Florida-born Emma Wyant as the winner of the women's 500-yard freestyle at the NCAA Women's Tournament rather than transgender athlete Leah Thomas, who actually won it, and history will show that Leah Thomas still has won it. All DeSantis did was give her a piece of paper, the girl from Florida that finished second. But fine. He's put his balls on the table by saying, no, we're not accepting this as Floridians. Our girl won. Boom. End of story. But Leah Thomas still has the medal. And I said that Leah Thomas, because of all the crap storm this has started, should just give the medal back and say, I'm sorry, this isn't right. You, however, don't feel, just if I can sum that up again, you don't feel that she should give the medal back.
That's right. I mean,
okay,
if she is allowed to compete and win, she should be able to keep the medal.
Okay, fair. Because the rules are what the rules are, and unless they're changed, fine. So from our viewers, there are quite a few, and there's some good comments here, by the way. I mean, I think we can at least debate things and not scream at each other, call each other big fat stupid heads, and never talk to them again. Go one step further and try and end their career. John in Edmonton says, if the swimmer identifies as a woman, let her compete in the women's events. A very simplistic way of looking at it. Nothing saying that that's wrong. Aaron B. replying to the comment from Wayne. Wayne said that Leah Thomas should not, because she had a sex change, be allowed to participate in women's events. That's what Wayne said. Aaron B. writes in the chat and says, it's nice to know I'm not the only person in BC who thinks that way. Follow the science. Aaron goes on to say, speak the truth. You might get canceled, but it's still the truth. Listen, I've been canceled. It's not that big of a deal. Life got better. So just be you. Jack in Alberta says, like anything in life, there needs to be guidelines that go with change. Otherwise, a man can declare as identifying as a woman and use the ladies' bathroom. Just a thought. And enough on that. Other one writes in and says, hey, Rod and Darren, the Jays just made a trade involving Randall Grichuk. Do you have that, Clark? Oh, here it is. Where's my bell? Ring the bell, you pansy. Toronto Blue Jays acquire outfielder Raimel Tapia from the Colorado Rockies in exchange for outfielder Randall Grichuk. Grichuk just homered yesterday in the 9-2 rout of the Yankees. What up with that? How do we feel about this, Clark? I'm not sure I like it. He says it's a good thing. Clark is giving it the thumbs up. Grichuk, 30 years of age, has spent the past 4 seasons with the Blue Jays. He hit .241 last season with 22 home runs and 81 RBI. Okay. Breaking news on the program. Randall Grichuk is no longer a Toronto Blue Jay. Life will go on. Do you care to analyze the trade, Moose, before we do, in fact, move on?
No, if Clark says it's good, that's all I need for a thumbs up from the baseball guy.
The Clark stamp of approval. By the way, I know I look like the crazy cat lady wearing 2 watches right now. I just want to... Have you noticed that? Did you notice that today?
No, but I do now.
I'm a little surprised that the viewers haven't picked up on that. The reason being that since I came back to Florida, my Fitbit was deader than a cat, than a skunk on the Trans-Canada Highway. So when I charged it, it was completely out of sync with the time. So the longer I wear it, it takes 2-3 days. It automatically syncs at some point with the time. So I'm wearing it, but it's dead, or it's off, so I have to wear my other watch. Okay? So that's why I'm wearing it. If anybody wondered, I'm sure you can all sleep better now. John in Edmonton goes on to say, we should hear what Caitlyn Jenner thinks of this issue. Clark?
I can tell you.
What does Caitlyn Jenner say?
She agrees with you and doesn't think that Leah Thomas should be able to compete. It was in TMZ. I read it. What could I say? When I was doing my homework on this, it's what I read. It's a delicate situation because, was it John that simply said if Leah identifies as a woman or a transgender woman, then you should be able to compete as a woman. And that's what we want, right? That's exactly what we want. If you are a woman, you should compete in women's events. If that's where you identify, that's the easiest, that's the simplest, that's the pure of it. But the problem is there's so many people out there that just don't have pure intentions and pure thoughts. And so they'll try and manipulate the rules to make money, to get notoriety for sponsorship deals, right? And so, we want to protect the rights of the LGBTQ, of the transgender. We want to protect their rights, give them the opportunities to be able to compete. But we also want to protect the rights of the women who are already working hard to compete and have their own space carved out for them. So it's extremely delicate. It's not like a man just went and started competing in the women's events. There was hormone things that had to, where there was hormone suppression, I think, for a year. Swimming, U.S. swimming, I think even has 36 months of treatment that needs to be done before you can participate. So it's really complex, but there's definitely the door being open a crack here for some shady stuff to happen.
Well, a complete diversion, and my friend Vincent Goodwin started it all by emailing the show. You can do that anytime. Go to rodpedersen.com, click on contact. You can send your questions and comments to us that way. And he asked my thoughts on this, and again, what I said was Leah Thomas, the winner of this, the transgender athletes, should take a knee and say, I'm out. I'm sorry that I created this controversy. See you later. But that's just me. That's what I would do. I'm not telling her what to do or anybody else. Can I live my own life? Cynthia in Pittsburgh writes in and says, while this may be a very sensitive and complicated issue, I'm going to weigh in here and say when they accepted her in the competition, they gave her the right to win and keep the medal. What you're saying, Darren.
Yes.
Jennifer from the Four Seasons writes in. She says, so if a person born a woman and changed and identified as a man competes and wins, would there be the same issue? I don't know. Never happened.
Probably not.
Probably not. And back on track here, if we're ever on track. John in Edmonton wants to know, are you guys going to be in Edmonton for the World Juniors this summer? Over to you, Moose.
Great question, actually. We had a meeting about that yesterday. So I can't say for sure, but I can say we want to be there, and we're working on trying to get there.
Why wasn't I invited to this meeting?
It wasn't a meeting you needed to be in. I'll tell you later. No. That makes any
involves
sense.
Your life.
There's a lot of... Yeah, exactly.
Furthermore, I want to say a couple things. Rockstar of the day yesterday for Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions was Justin Dunk of 3downnation.com. And I wanted to point something out for a second on that. Dunk came on with a 3Down News, and I was saying to Darren in our morning meeting today that, listen, there is no problem with talking about CFL news year-round. I mean, we've been talking about what Vanstone had to say, and then Dunk said it yesterday about the league wanting to be visible year-round. We're CFL fans. We're CFL supporters. There's a lot of teams in the CFL that I think want to be talked about every day. Stampeders and Elks would love it for sure. There are teams that I know don't want to be talked about every day, nor especially in the off season. But that's just their thing. But I was saying to Darren, I'm not going to forsake talking about the CFL or bringing it up every day when there are teams that want the coverage. For instance, you're going to see him in the next few days. One CFL megastar wrote into our show and said he wants to come on and talk about rule changes. I'm not going to tell you today who it is, but it's 111. Thank you, Ryan McCarthy, for pointing out 1111 Mountain. You know that means that we're on the right track. And Jack, watching in Vulcan, Alberta, says, the pink drink. Yeah, I got it. You don't need it, Jack. You're not overweight at all, as you know. But yeah, I don't go too far without this. But can I just say this, just for spits and giggles? That CFL megastar said, Rod, I want to know what you want for rule changes in the Canadian Football League. And I'm like, nobody ever asks me. Certainly not in football, and really not in hockey either. They want my opinion on transgender athletes, but they don't care what I think about CFL rules. But I was like, literally, I haven't thought about it in a long time. I had to think about it for a while. And when that player comes on, I think Clark's booking him in next week. Again, CFL megastar will be with us next week. Oh, it's Monday. He's booked him in. Wait till Monday. You'll find out who it is. That is kind of a fun talk. You're not going to spend the weekend thinking about what CFL rule changes I'd like to see. I'd like to see that 3-down convert brought in. I'd like to see safer rules for kickoffs and punts for sure. I don't want to see the elimination of 3 downs. I do not. If you put a gun to my head right now and said, what do you want? I would say, leave it with 3 downs. From a business standpoint, however, and the video game standpoint, they should go to 4 downs. But I think that canary's out of the cage. Keep the rouge for both punt singles and missed field goals. Keep the 3 downs, but bring in 3-point converts, safer kickoffs and punts. That's for starters. How about you, Moose?
I like that. I think that's pretty good. I like the 3-point convert's an interesting one. Because that would change things for sure. That's probably the most radical thing you come up with. I would tweak the rouge somehow. I don't like the missed field goals resulting in a single point. That's the only thing I would change. I would still have the punts result in a single, kickoffs potentially. But missed field goals would be the one thing I would eliminate, the single point from a missed field goal. That's it.
I'm not married to it, but I just think it's hella exciting when you're in a game and you miss the field goal and that point still affects the game. And there was games, It was a game at Taylor Field. The Rider fans watching right now will remember the game where Kenny Miller lined up like a 45-yard field goal with a wind at his back. No, it was like a 65-yard field goal. He's like, even if we missed this sucker, we could miss and get a point and win the game. Like, that's pretty damn exciting.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Andrew Stute says, do you like the no yards penalty, Rod? No, get rid of it. Stupid, dumb. I don't like it. We'd have to sit and talk about that in a board meeting because I'm not a real fan of the fair catch either. There's got to be another way around that. Ted Blues watching on YouTube says, hey, Rod, what is the pink drink? Here we go. How long you been watching, Ted? I used to be a fat pig. Darren and Clark have said it, not in so many words. They watched video from like a year and a half ago where I was 50 to 60 pounds heavier than what I am now. I went on this pink drink. It's a probiotic. It flushes your system. What can I say? Gets things moving. Brought to you by Bronco Plumbing and Heating. Tacona in Winnipeg says, Rod, will the pink drink help if you just drink it and don't overly exercise, especially cardio, as I'm in a chair? I know you are, Tacona, and you don't need to exercise at all. I just throw that in, and because I've been working out religiously for the past 20 years, almost every day, but it has nothing to do with exercise at all. It has everything to do with breaking down your food and flushing out things that have been in your system for many, many years, and I'm down 50 to 60 pounds since I got on this stuff. So, yeah, DM me. I think we're on something here. Craig Campbell, watching from the Hockey Hall of Fame, says, eliminate the missed field goal for a single. I agree, Darren. Jeff in Winnipeg says 5 downs. Just kidding. They did it in the fan-controlled football league. They had 5 downs. We'll kick this around and more when we come back. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus Television Network, live streaming on YouTube. And if you missed any portion of the show, you can always catch the podcast wherever you enjoy your podcasts, including Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Nestled in the scenic Corbeil Valley, just 20 minutes northwest of Regina, is one of the finest golf courses in all of Saskatchewan, the Deer Valley Golf Club. The clubhouse has a full-service restaurant, and customers can enjoy a casual dining experience with spectacular views of the golf course and valley. A fully stocked golf shop staffed by PGA of Canada professionals is equipped to meet all of your golf apparel and equipment needs. Book your tee time, family event, or corporate tournament today at the Deer Valley Golf Club. Call 306-731-1445.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Alice Cooper, the godfather of shock rock, is back. With special guest Buck Cherry. Mosaic Place, Sunday, April 10th. Get tickets now at mosaicplace.ca and sasktix.ca.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services, and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
That is my finger in the bottom right of your screen. Yeah, I filmed it. Yeah, I got my finger in the way. I'm sorry. Man, is my video extremely grainy right now? Or is it just the computer you sent me with?
I can't tell. The boys
it's
can
fine?
tell, but I can't
okay.
tell.
How's the video coming through, Jordan? He says it could be better. I don't know. Is there something that I can do? He says, we're good for now. Just one more thing. I really got him going on the pink drink thing, Moose. And I apologize for that. But it's the weight loss thing. It's this drink that I've been drinking here. And Ted Blue says, sorry, but what's the name of the pink drink? It's called Pink Drink. How about that? But no,
How about that?
Plexus Worldwide, and BW says the pink drink would help with the trucker gut. Yes,
Approved.
It would. I think any exercise and not sloppy joes in a truck stop would help with the trucker gut too. But that's just me. My cousin Christine in Medicine Hat says the screen is fuzzy. Everybody, close your eyes, okay? Just listen. It is not the end of the world. Close your eyes. Take a break from the world for a while. Andrew says, thanks, Rod. Andrew Stute, I love the CFL, but that no yards drives me bonkers. And honestly, Moose, to sum it all up, and you can continue to go down this road as long as you want. Everybody can. But it's like, why are we talking about this? Is it because this was the lowest scoring season in the Canadian Football League since 1974 that they think they need to change all the rules? They didn't want to talk about the fact that the quality of play was down. They missed a year. Blah, blah, blah. Well, I could point to a lot of other factors, not that the rules need to be changed. Is that where this is all coming from?
Probably. I assume that's where it's coming from. Everybody wants to look at why the league is in some trouble. And that is a narrative for sure that the league is in some trouble. We're hearing it everywhere. And so you start to look at how do we fix it, right? And so we start thinking, well, maybe we can fix the game. Maybe we can do this, and then fans will start coming back. Well, that's probably not it, because the game's been really good for a really long time and been really entertaining and had a really great competitive advantage and captured fans around the world and all these different things. We just need to get back to connecting with the fans and working hard to reach them and getting them back into the seats. I think, another year, the game will be improved. You had the year off. You talked about that, and the play was a little bit rusty. We've also eliminated coaches, so we're not getting as much attention, as much coaches working on game plans and making sure we're ready for the weekend. So there's a lot of other factors other than the rule.
Why are we talking about this so much? It's ridiculous, and I'm with the football guys that say this is the best that they can come up with to talk about in the offseason. That's pretty poor. Thank you, Andrew Stute, for injecting something sane here. He says, Giroux in for the Florida Panthers versus the Habs tonight. Claude Giroux will, in fact, make his Florida Panthers debut tonight, and we wonder what he'll bring. It's his first game after 1,000. Right on the snout with the Philadelphia Flyers. That's impressive what he did. And so just to get back on track with what we normally do around here, Cindy Girl in Pittsburgh says, close your eyes, put your feet up, and relax. Listening to Rod and Darren is very therapeutic. Is for you. I'm not sure it is for everybody, Cynthia, but we aim to please. I think we're done on the transgender thing. But we're done. So tonight in the National Hockey League, it's a busy night. 10 games. What am I going to be looking at the most? Definitely Florida at Montreal. Tampa Bay at Boston. Dallas at Carolina. Detroit at the Islanders. Philadelphia at St. Louis. Vancouver at Minnesota. My guess is Flower would start his first game in that one. Chicago at LA. The Oilers welcome San Jose. Ottawa's at Winnipeg, and Nashville is at Vegas. They all have pretty big implications, Moose. Is there anything in there that you might be interested in?
Yeah, the Jets and are in Ottawa looking to, so Jets looking to get closer to the playoffs. And then there's two games, one with Edmonton, one with Dallas in there. Dallas is chasing, Edmonton's hanging on. That's another one with playoff implications. And with you, I'm looking to see how Claude Giroux fits in. Where do they put him? Who does he play with? What kind of minutes does he log? And impact does he have in Florida?
Al? When we're not talking about transgender athletes and CFL rule changes, this is the stuff that I'm actually caring about. All of this. The Blue Jays are playing the Atlanta Braves today. And as we mentioned, they've dealt Randall Grichuk away to the Colorado Rockies. Very interesting what's going on with the Toronto Blue Jays. But at the very least, I think we can all sit back and say, I'll only speak for myself. I'm trusting the general manager, Ross Atkins. I'm trusting the president, Mark Shapiro. I'm trusting the skipper, now Charlie Montoyo. For a while, I didn't know whether I could trust these guys or not. But they've won me over with what's happened the last couple of years. And now it's up to the players. A little less dancing in the dugout. A little less passing the home run jacket around, although it's good that they're hitting home runs. But let's get serious. It's not playtime anymore. Blue Jays and the Braves today. They're the odds-on pick to win the division. Let's now go do it.
Yeah.
NBA tonight, Cleveland, Toronto. Not really big into that, but I might poke my head in there. And what I am really paying attention to, SJHL playoffs tonight, baby. If you're in the area, head down to the Dunk and take in the Notre Dame Hounds on the Estevan Bruins. The Bruins have a 2-1 series lead. And the other series, La Ronge and Humboldt are 2-2. Battlefords and Flin Flon 2-2. And Yorkton has stormed back for 3 straight wins, and they lead Melfort 3-1. And tonight in the AJHL playoffs, it is Spruce Grove at Whitecourt, because we have sashayed our way into the Alberta junior hockey scene. I'm really paying attention to this. Are you watching it?
Yeah, it's great. It's really awesome. And, once I'm feeling better, I was actually thinking of going down the road and checking out one of these junior hockey playoff games. So hopefully that can happen sooner than later, and we'll get to the rinks. But I love junior hockey playoffs is the best, especially when those arenas get packed.
Well, yeah, especially those SJHL playoffs and the trucker horn. Remember in the Battlefords when they had me honking the horn? And, oh, man, it doesn't get better to that than that. Ted Blues in the chat says, if Florida plays Tampa in the playoffs, can Florida or anyone for that matter match Tampa Bay in goal? I think not. Yeah, let's just have the discussion here. Andrew Stute says the Habs players are expecting extra cross-checks from ex-teammate Ben Sherratt tonight. See, that's what's exciting moving forward with the NHL. Sorry, I'm skipping through the comments here. Now we're looking at the teams that have retooled their rosters since the trade deadline. So how good's Florida going to be with Giroux and Sherratt? Listen, all I've heard all morning here in South Florida is that Giroux is playing his first game. I'm like, it's Sherratt's return to Montreal. Nobody's even talking about that. And I guess there's a school of thought that maybe if they play good enough defense and score enough goals, the Florida Panthers don't need to worry about Sergei Bobrovsky having the odd off night. See, Andrei Vasilevsky in Tampa never has an off night. Never, ever. And this is why I think goalies should be the highest paid players on the team. And people tell me to shut up, and I don't know what I'm talking about. Do you think you can win a Stanley Cup that way, Darren? By just scoring enough goals and playing good enough defense to make it easier on your goalie, that you don't need to have the best goalie in the NHL and still win a Stanley Cup?
Sure, it can happen. It's not the easy way to do it. It's not the likely way. I mean, we've seen it how many times? There's so many great offenses in hockey, and goals are just so hard to come by in the playoffs. They're incredibly difficult to come by in the playoffs. The game changes. Everything changes. The intensity changes. The physicality changes. Even in a game today that's more skill and speed, it still becomes more physical, tight checking, and much, much harder to score. So it's really hard to overcome bad goaltending in the playoffs. A little bit easier to do that in the regular season.
You'd think they'd know.
Yeah.
Jennifer in the Four Seasons says, everyone knows defense wins championships. That's from Jennifer. Yes. But as the staunch Oilers fan that she is, and I don't know her age, and God knows I'd never ask, but the 1980s Edmonton Oilers were the exception that proved the rule. They scored enough that it didn't matter how many goals they let in. And I talked to Grant Fuhr about that. Watch your feet, Moose. I'm going to drop some names because I spent time with Grant Fuhr. It was one of those, you've never seen me do this, but I did this in Saskatoon that night. I was part of that event with Grant Fuhr and Martin Brodeur and Bernie Perrant and Ed Belfour. And I'm missing Glenn Hall. I'd never met Grant Fuhr before. I made a beeline for him, and I was like, Fuhrzy, can you sit down for a second? I got to talk to you about something. He's like, yeah. He's like the most easygoing dude ever. And I'm like, listen, how do you feel about the critics? How do you feel about the critics that say that your goals against is too high and you shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame? He's like, I don't care what they think. You got 4 Stanley Cup rings. I don't care. We won. So the Oilers of the 80s did not do it with defense. And I can't think of too many other teams that did it that way, although that was maybe the 70s Montreal Canadiens. I wasn't old enough to say. I think the defense wins championships. Is that not? Would you not say that's more of a football?
It's a football
adage?
term. Yeah, for sure it is. But, and there's all those sayings, right? Golfers drive for show and putt for dough, right? And, offense wins crowds, defense wins championships in football. And hockey, it's a little bit of the same too, but it's more of a football term.
Andrew Stute, who, je t'aime, Andrew, je t'aime. He says, I have a good one. He's from Montreal, by the way, Moose. Do you know what je t'aime means?
Okay.
Darren? You do?
Tell me.
Okay. I love you, Andrew. But he says, I have a good one. Who finishes where in the AFC West between the Broncos, Chargers, Chiefs, and the Raiders? LOL. Listen, Andrew, we're not chickens dancing on a hot plate here. You got us going on the NHL games tonight. Can you just settle? Chill? We may talk about that tomorrow, but we're having a good time here talking about the NHL and the Stanley Cup playoffs. So just chill for a while. By the way, the Blades played the Winnipeg Ice last night. Your Blades. Did the Ice take that one?
They did.
What was the scoop on that game?
I think it was 4-2 was the final. It was, I think the Blades were at home. They had all the dogs were in the building. It was pet night. So you could bring your dog to the game. I believe that was the night last night. Either that or that's coming up this weekend. But they lost 4-2 and Winnipeg's rolling.
Bring your own baggies, your own pooper scoopers.
Oh, yes.
Andrew Stute says, je t'aime aussi, Rod. Merci. Mon ami. You going to come back for overtime, Moose?
You bet.
Okay, what's the French phrase that you learned? Oh, he's gone. We'll talk about that in overtime. Moose is learning French, one sentence at a time. Chris Corbeil joins us, captain of the Saskatchewan Rush, as we are in the thick of the NLL season. We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus TV network, YouTube Live, and 24-hour sports radio at rodpedersen.com.
Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now. You gotta subscribe. Click the subscribe button for all the content you may have missed.
Smoky in the air, that's a lot of pine. Big time, big time, big time, big time.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital Ford. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a pre-owned vehicle that's already on the lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital Ford Lincoln. Your adventure starts here.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Don't rack your brain trying to source the equipment and materials you need for your business. Rockstar can operate your entire supply chain, from PO creation to expediting your shipments, all from our office. Leverage the buying power of the Rockstar buying group to not only save money and time, but also the headache. From gloves to glue, we can provide it for you. Find out more at rockstar.com.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Universal Collision Center is Saskatchewan's premier auto body shop. Our extensive process ensures that every vehicle that comes through our state-of-the-art facilities is returned pre-accident condition, and that every UCC customer experience is an easy one. We're certified to repair all makes, all models, and all luxury brands, and Universal Auto Spa offers full-service detailing packages to suit you and your vehicle. Plus, we're the official body shop of your Saskatchewan Roughriders. Universal Collision Center, 3910 Rochdale Boulevard and 2355 First Avenue in Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Beautiful day here in South Florida. By the way, not so beautiful in Dunedin, Florida, over on the Gulf Coast side. The Blue Jays-Braves game rained out. So hopefully we get a chance to make it up another night. We're talking NLL now, and I'm very pleased to welcome in Saskatchewan Rush captain Chris Corbeil, who was part of the highlight reel on the weekend in their big home win over Rochester, chucking the knuckles, and they're home again this weekend. Chris, welcome to the RP Show. It's good to talk to you again, my friend, and I'll be honest, Rush season ticket holder, what a roller coaster this has been in 2022 for the Saskatchewan Rush. What's it like from the inside? Has it felt as wild for you as it has been watching it from the outside?
Well, first off, Rod, thanks for having me on. Always a pleasure joining you, and we appreciate all the advocacy you do for the Rush. And we know you're a season ticket holder there, and like I said, appreciate all your fandom and always preaching the choir. But yeah, it's felt like a roller coaster for sure. It's been a pretty crazy year. We're a group that's not that accustomed to losing, and there's been quite a bit of that. But it's been really close. Like we've been on the wrong side a lot of one goal losses and really tight games that have felt like, with the right bounce, a little bit of a change in luck, and we could have wound up on the winning side of things.
Well, at least you're playing meaningful games and there's still a chance, but I want to just back up a little bit. The day that you came onto my radar is when you came out to Saskatchewan Roughriders training camp with one of your teammates and you guys were ball forth. And I don't really remember why that happened because I was so laser focused on what the Riders were doing. And I'm like, it's Corbeil? And they're like, no, it's Corbeil. And of course, I think you were a newcomer on the scene then and now one of the biggest names on the team. What do you remember about that day coming out and hanging out with the football guys?
Yeah, that was cool, and it was a good way to get a little more exposure into the community. Yeah, we were new to Saskatchewan and Saskatoon at the time, and I think the Riders must have been having a training camp for some reason in Saskatoon. So Dilksy and I went up there, and I can't remember who it was, but Dilksy actually had a buddy on the team, and I knew Chad Owens, so who was playing there at the time. So that broke the ice a little bit, and we got to bring the sticks out and throw them on the field. And that was a pretty cool experience to be able to do that and sort of share the field with another team that this province is really supportive of.
Absolutely. Well, the two pro teams were intersecting that day, and I love when teams work together for that, and it worked because it got you guys on my radar, and I've been hooked ever since. Now, can I just ask you about the fight? Because I was showing some kids down here in Florida the video of your fight on the weekend, and it's really to say they loved it. They're 10 and 12. They want to play lacrosse now. What happened in that showdown?
Yeah, we were just we were running over to the boards, and a teammate of mine, Matt Beers, he's the guy that normally is the one throwing the knuckles, and he got kind of pushed from behind in a vulnerable position while he was going into the boards. So we took a little bit of exception to it. I didn't even really plan on fighting, to be honest. I kind of went in there and gave the guy a push, and he was ready to go and defend himself. And we ended up shedding the mitts and going at it. Credit to him. He's a young guy, American guy. I don't think he's got too much fighting experience under his belt, but he, did a good job sticking up for himself. And I think it was a good moment in the game. They kind of had a bit of momentum at that point, and was fortunate that sort of got the crowd back into it, and we rallied in the second half, so it was good.
That's the way it's supposed to work. Now, I'm sorry to focus on the fighting, but the Rush don't care because they're putting out, they're publicizing this. How many career fights? Yeah. How many career fights have you had, not just in NLL, but in lacrosse overall? Do you keep track of that sort of thing?
I'd just be kind of estimating here, but yeah, a handful in the pros, and then summer lacrosse, probably another 5 to 10. So call it 15 over the course of junior, and then playing in adulthood as well.
Well, judging by the video that I saw, you clearly know what you're doing with that. So kudos, keep it up, and it gave the team the lift. By the way, man, I'm working on South Florida as the next expansion market for the NLL. I'm spreading the word down here, and they love what they see. Anybody who sees it loves it and falls, but they just don't really have it. So we're working on that. But back to the task at hand. Roughnecks in town Saturday night. I was at the St. Patrick's Day game in Calgary, and I thought you guys going to pull it out. It didn't happen. You must feel a little like you owe them something here Saturday night.
Yeah, big time. They've beat us twice already this season, so this is the last time we'll see them. And, I mean, you can speak to it. You were at the game, another close one. We head into the fourth quarter with the lead, and then a bad fourth quarter for us ends up being a loss. So you talked about, playing meaningful games. We're essentially playing playoff games for the rest of the season. Strictly divisional opponents, and it starts this weekend with Saskatchewan or with Calgary coming to Sask, and that it's must win if we've still got a shot at the playoffs. So we'll be excited. It's a pretty good rivalry between us and Calgary, always has been, going back to our days in Edmonton, and they'll give us a handful, but I'm hoping we get some redemption.
It's funny, the last time that Derek Keenan was on here, I said, is your top rival Colorado, Derek? Because you hate them, and he's like, no, it's still Calgary. So I would suspect SaskTel Center will be, I suspect SaskTel Center will be full come Saturday night. Now, the thing is, I was a newbie to lacrosse until you guys moved to the province. I still don't really understand the game that well. I don't see the difference from Jeff McComb's style from Derek Keenan's style. He said that there wouldn't be much of a change in terms of philosophy, but clearly there's a bit of, has there been a change, Chris, a noticeable change from one style to the other?
There's subtle changes, but nothing major. Again, the coaching philosophy, that's a good way of putting it, has really remained constant. You see subtle changes in, the way that Jeff addresses the team, the way that he runs the bench, the way that he runs practices, that kind of thing. But again, our offensive and defensive principles are the same as what they've been. So, by no stretch of the imagination, do we put any, significant portion of the responsibility on Jeff for this, sort of treacherous season we've had so far. It's our struggles have just been due to a lack of performance. And I think, it's even evident if you break it down. There's been stretches where we've been really good and dominant, in fact. If we really break it down and look at how this team's played in first half of games this season, we should be able to close things out, but we've developed a bit of an MO for being a team that comes out sluggish and unable to finish games in the second half, and it's cost us.
To me, that sounds like a mental thing. And the thing is, I'm looking at the roster, yourself and Cornwall and Jeff Shatler. It's a lot, Ryan Keenan. It's a lot of the same guys, but there's some different faces in key places. But I think that cannot, that can be overcome. So, but it needs to start Saturday night, as you know, and I'll be watching Mr. Corbeil. I appreciate the time, as always. Anything else before we let you go?
No, we're excited to see everybody out. We want a packed barn on Saturday. We build so much off of the fans, and lacrosse is such a game of momentum. And I mentioned a lot of one-goal losses for us this year, and I think we got 4 home games coming up down the stretch here. Playing in front of a home crowd, that can be a one-goal swing. So we need the fans to come out like we know they can, and we're excited to close up with so many home games.
Good luck the rest of the way, man. Always appreciate what you do. Go Rush. Thanks for the time, Chris.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having us, Rod.
Chris Corbeil of the Saskatchewan Rush, Saturday night home to the Calgary Roughnecks. You can get your tickets at Ticketmaster.ca. Moose will be calling the game. He's going to be back in here next for overtime, all right? We'll be right back. You're watching the RP Show on the Game Plus television network, YouTube Live, and if you've missed any portion of the show, you can always catch the podcast wherever you enjoy your podcasts, including Apple, Stitcher, and Spotify.
Have you subscribed to the Rod Pedersen Show YouTube channel yet? Head to youtube.com/The Rod Pedersen Show now.
Grey Eagle Resort and Casino.
Some of the challenges we face with the CT technology that we have today is some of the deficiencies in around integration with some of our other systems. The addition of 2 new 4D simulators within the programming of the Saskatchewan Cancer Agency is going to have significant impact on the care we provide to the people of Saskatchewan.
Are you ready? It's finally time for your next adventure, and it starts at Capital GMC. Custom order the perfect new vehicle for you, or reserve one of the hundreds that's already built and on its way. Can't wait? Get into a GM-certified pre-owned vehicle that's on our lot and ready to rock. Plus, the American Export event is back and bigger than ever. We'll send your vehicle south, making you the most money for your trade. Guaranteed. Oh, and for a limited time, all name brand tires are employee priced. Only at Capital GMC. Your adventure starts here.
Does this look familiar? Your fans deserve an incredible arena experience. It's time for an upgrade. Stunning graphics. Revenue opportunities are just the beginning with our in-venue display systems and scoring technology. Let us help you find the best solution for your facility. EDG, always delivering the best fan experience.
Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Experts in all residential and commercial plumbing services and proudly serving Regina and area since 1978. Bronco Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. We'll treat you right.
A legend throws 713 yards in a single pro football game.
A legend wins 3 Grey Cup MVP awards.
Allen looking deep. A legend scores 1,209 points in 1,127 NHL games. Play among legends at betregal.net.
Hey, Rod Squad, now you can join the team with your very own RP Show gear. Head to rodpedersenshop.com and get yours today while supplies last. It's just like we wear on the show, official RP Show gear at rodpedersenshop.com.
It is time for Taco Time Viewer Takeover in this overtime segment. It is a burrito-full day. It is buy one, get one half off at Taco Time, over 120 locations across Canada, as we bring in the Moose. And I wanted to tell you, Moose, overtime, of course, as always, brought to you by the Four Seasons Sports Palace. They watch us every day down there, the Greek Freak, Jennifer, and the whole crew. For a limited time, Golden Corral had Nashville hot chicken on.
Ooh.
And we missed it. Didn't get there in time. I know, right?
Okay.
because I need another buffet, obviously. But
you did go to the Golden Corral?
Haven't been there. No, haven't been there.
Okay.
Probably, I'm hoping to get there. Yeah, buddy. As I said, Golden Corral's not going anywhere. If I don't get there on this stint, I'll go next time. I just wanted to tell you, they had Nashville hot chicken. But I'm thinking, could it be anywhere near as good as our place in Nashville? Do you remember the name?
Hattie B's. How can I not?
Yeah. Hattie B's Nashville hot chicken.
I know. So worth it.
We got him going, Moose, on that CFL rule change thing, which, again, I am open-minded enough to realize that just because I don't necessarily care to talk about it doesn't mean nobody wants to talk about it. So Metal Shingle Guy writes in on the 902 line, and he says, goalposts should be moved back, eliminate the rouge, XFL kickoff is good and safe. And I'm like, well, then you might as well just adopt all of the XFL rules then. Move the goalpost back. I mean, that seems to be the real problem, if we can zero in on this and put a bow on it, is that nobody can agree on what is perfect. So you need somebody to stand up and pound his fist on the table and say, this is what we're doing. And nobody seems to want to do that in the CFL. I go back to the hockey thing because I'm that hockey guy. It's like you with football. I played hockey, coached hockey, reffed hockey. I know it inside out. I am far more comfortable talking about that. You with football played it, coached it, but did you ref it?
I didn't ref football, no.
Well, I swear that you have no clue what the rules are of a sport until you ref it, because you don't have a choice. You have to. When you go and get that certification for hockey officiating like I did, if you don't know the rules inside out, you fail, you don't get your certification. You know, and because I've hung out with so many football refs in my time, I don't know the rules inside out. That's why I don't miss that old job with the Rough Riders, because it's like rules would happen in CFL games. I'm like, I don't know the answer to this. Well, you're the broadcaster. You should know. The coach doesn't know.
Right.
Because I've had CFL linesmen tell me that they would be officiating a game, a call would be made, and I'm not going to name who those refs were, but they told me they're under their breath. They're like, Coach, you can challenge this. But the coach doesn't even know. So anyways, people really love to talk about the rules and so forth. It's just not really my thing. And with hockey, we don't fidget and fart around with them as much as for whatever reason. BW, by the way, writing on YouTube, says he's got to find Pink Drink. Just everybody's writing about it. Just DM me on Twitter and Instagram. I'm sorry for giving him all the free pub, Moose. They saw me drinking it and the place went nuts.
Well, if it works, right? And clearly it's worked for you.
Worked for me. BW says, what's the story on the BC Junior Hockey League not in the Canada Hockey National Playoffs? Everything I found, there is negotiation to be done to get into the RBC Cup playoffs, or whatever they call it now.
We wait and see, right?
Well, my reaction to that is, this show is a little like a soap opera, or, if that's not your thing, an Archie comic book. If you missed a significant portion of the shows, you're lost. We broke the story that the BC Junior Hockey League was breaking off from Hockey Canada. We broke it. It was last year in the bubble. The WHL bubble, I'll never forget, because it was a junior hockey guy that told me as we were walking out of the bubble, he goes, oh, by the way, you might want to report this. BCJ's breaking off from Hockey Canada. And that was about a year ago at this time, Darren. And here we are. I was right. But, of course, do you remember the stuff that was flung at me over that?
Well, of course. I mean, nobody wants to hear the news, right? Especially when it's something like that and your league's going to be leaving. But I remember it well. I mean, it was wild to think that was a year ago already.
Now, I will say that I whiffed on this. I had that the BCJ was breaking off from Hockey Canada, which they did. But I was told that in the Alberta Junior League, Okotoks, Brooks, Grand Prairie, and one other team were going to join them. I was wrong on that. I'm only going by what my information is. You're only as good as your sources, I guess. But anyways, that's the deal. So they broke off on their own from Hockey Canada, and looks like no interest in coming back for them. The BCJ. Those Alberta teams are staying. Tacona Powley writes in, I'm going to direct this to you, Moose. You're the boss. He says, in all caps, I haven't got my hoodie in the mail yet. Did you field an order from Paul in Winnipeg?
I will check, and I will get back to you on that. I'll look at the orders right after the show. Find out.
You don't handle the store, though, do you?
No, I don't. So I'll check with our suppliers and see if they've seen the order.
Our expansive staff deals with that. It sounds like Moose needs to crack the whip. BW goes on to say, sorry, I missed that. My bad. If you want to know what's happening, the inside stuff, you need to watch the show every day for 2 hours. But that last minute of play in the RP show, last minute. But now I'm realizing, Darren, why I could have been a coach or I could have been a teacher. You just keep repeating yourself over and over and over and over and over.
That's right. Every day.
That's all
every year. Totally.
Yeah. Producer Clark wants you all to know tomorrow on a football Friday. Is it a football Friday? Let me guess. It just worked out this way. NBA analyst Leo Routens, all 6'8" of him. Winnipeg Jets color man Jamie Thomas, and NFL insider Steven Stamp. That is all coming up on Friday. Any last words from you, Moose, before we let you go?
No, enjoy the afternoon. We'll see you tomorrow.
All right, everybody. Thank you to Sammy Cosentino, Chris Corbeil, and you for playing along. We'll see you tomorrow, noon Eastern, right here on Game Plus. We don't know what we're doing.